It is the West's worst nightmare.
If anything goes wrong during the transport, I don't want to appear as the owner of the merchandise.
If the stuff is discovered at customs, we can manage the problem. We can buy off the customs people.
What you're looking at is a secret transaction. Nuclear material, origin, the former Soviet Union, being peddled to a foreign buyer. Tonight, a Nightline investigation. Nuclear secrets for sale, the new black market.
This is an ABC News Nightline investigation. Reporting from Washington, Ted Koppel.
We are great believers, we Americans, in the market with a capital M. We see it almost as a force of nature with its own dynamic. Just permit the market to do its thing, we murmur to the Commonwealth of Independent States that once made up the Soviet Union, and everything will be all right. We point to successful barter arrangements that introduced a generation of Soviets to Pepsi-Cola, while Americans developed a taste for Stolichnaya vodka. Not in and of itself the foundation of a successful new economic system, though. The Soviets have always wanted to buy Western technology and consumer goods, but the West has never had much faith in the ruble. The newly independent states would love to earn hard currency, dollars, marks, yen. But what do they have that anyone with that kind of money wants?
For the Marines, I can't get the submarine. It's clear. It's clear. Understand me? Mm-hmm. Aircraft, helicopters, all ammunition with spare parts. Yes.
What you've just seen is part of a French documentary shot with a hidden camera. The former Soviet Union is up to its ears in weapons, quite a few of them nuclear. And the world is full of eager buyers. Most of them, unfortunately, people the United States would prefer to keep out of that particular market.
We had been told by many people that the most incredible merchandise could be bought there. Anything from tanks, helicopters, and fighter jets to sides of beef. One of the brokers told us that on 2 occasions, uranium had been available.
This reporter was part of the French documentary team that filmed the black market nuclear negotiation. They made contact with men they believed to be Russian military officers, willing and able to sell nuclear material.
Scandium, germanium, we have some, but still can't get it through official channels.
How much scandium can we get?
50 kilos of scandium.
And germanium?
We don't know, but it's possible to get it.
Scandium and germanium are products that can be used for both civilian and military nuclear programs. But we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves again. There may actually be some black market sales of nuclear items being made, or at least attempted, by former Soviet officials. We'll have more on that later in this broadcast. What is so troublesome, however, is the confluence of conditions in the old Soviet Union that will make such transactions not only inevitable, but widespread if concrete measures aren't taken, and taken soon. That part of the story from my colleague Dave Marish when we come back.
This is an ABC News Nightline investigation. Brought to you by CERTA.
It begins at dawn. They've come for you. And they want what you have. It's your bed, your CERTA Perfect Sleeper. But it's the most comfortable spot in the house. The CERTA surface and support only CERTA builds in makes it that way. So if it gets a little late for breakfast, there's always brunch. Is it any wonder people are saying, I want my CERTA?
Ace Best Buys are easy to find. They're great values like these.
This Rubbermaid 32-gallon wheel trash container is only $9.77, and Simple Green cleaning solution with free scrubber is just $6.88.
Ace Best Buys. Another reason Ace is the place for you.
I'm a 5, William Hines. I'm a lot, Michael Hines.
For a free list of cars with airbags, see your Allstate agent.
How fast can you change a John Deere tricycler mower from a mulcher to a rear bagger? Then a side discharger? Under 10 seconds.
I think I could have done it faster.
The tricycler mower from John Deere.
Call this number and get a $20 discount certificate on a John Deere mower.
1-800-858-0100.
Cute. Now you want to use the phone?
Once you taste new Kellogg's Nutri-Grain Nuggets, you'll forget about Post-Grape Nuts.
Hey, this tastes better than, you know.
Oh, yeah, better than our old Nuggets.
Right, it's much better than, what's its name?
Tastes so much better. People prefer new Kellogg's Nutri-Grain Nuggets by 2 to 1. 2 to 1.
What were we talking about?
We were talking?
New Kellogg's Nutri-Grain Nuggets. The taste will make you forget your old Nuggets.
Last week's undercover report on mammogram misdiagnosis not only caused talk, it brought immediate results. This week we'll tell you more. Watch Primetime Thursday.
Under Stalin and Khrushchev and Brezhnev, indeed until just a few years ago, Soviet nuclear scientists were pampered prisoners of the state. They were well treated, but locked away in cities so secret that they didn't even appear on Soviet maps. That official paranoia, which foresaw the day that nuclear scientists from the Soviet Union might try to sell their knowledge to the highest foreign bidder, was not without some justification. Nightline has learned that some of the scientists have already been employed by at least 2 Arab states. We'll have more on that a little later. But we begin with Nightline correspondent Dave Marish, who'll take you on a guided tour of what used to be the gilded gulag of Soviet nuclear science.
To the 80,000 people who live here, this place has been jokingly referred to as nowhere. Artemis 16, its official name, refers to a post office box. This secret city is where Stalin's scientists first developed an atomic bomb, and where Andrei Sakharov and his team made the first Soviet hydrogen bomb. The monks of the old monastery here were never as isolated as the acolytes of 20th century science were kept. Even now, after years of glasnost and perestroika and the collapse of the communist state, a French television team got no farther than the front gate. Only their Russian camera crew was allowed to go inside Artemis 16 to give us our first look inside the secret city. At its populace of technicians and scientists who are among the new Russian state's most valuable possessions. ABC News Nightline has conducted the first on-camera interview with Artemis 16's director, Yuri Trutnev.
The groups of scientists, designers, physicists, testing experts who are engaged in nuclear weapons development and testing have to be retained because they can resolve very major national economic and fundamental scientific tasks, just as they managed to resolve the fundamental task of creating nuclear weapons.
I know most of these people personally. Beginning of my scientific career took place in Arzamas, the key kitchen of former evil empire.
Roald Sagdayev used to be among the elite of Soviet science, but then he moved west. Now he teaches at the University of Maryland. He says almost all of the scientists at the secret labs like Artemis 16 would be glad to stay there. But he warns.
One of them, or couple of them, out of 300 of these bright physicists, who knows what he can do. I would suggest we should stay on the safe side. Let's make sure that even such a singled-out Russian strangelove would not go to work for Saddam.
And how do you do that? How do you prevent that from happening?
It would help them to feel that they can have a real choice to do something important in non-military area.
Foreign satellite TV programs are practically not receivable in the center of this country. The satellite TV system being designed in the Institute.
This promotional video from the Artemis 16 lab shows what kinds of non-military products the lab is already ready to take to market.
After Chernobyl disaster, a great necessity in radiation control instruments emerged, which can be used routinely.
In some cases, the leap from nuclear weapons design to producing items for civilian use is as simple as a walk across the street. But in others, the former wizards of armaments Armageddon propose to become instead magicians of medical miracles, like lasers for eye surgery or special beds for burn victims. Or much further down the scale of significance, techno-innovators of tennis.
The Institute has created documentation and already begun serious production of a portable tool for string tension.
Quite a change for some who were once the Soviet state's most pampered people.
It is humiliating, finally, after many years being a treasure of the nation, and finally now they are looking for sheer survival.
Artemis 16 lies about 300 miles east of Moscow. Still farther east, over the Ural Mountains, on the edge of the Great Siberian Plain, lies Chelyabinsk 40, another P.O. box name, another once secret place where weapons of war were the most important product. When Nightline's cameras entered the city, we breached a barbed wire barrier no American TV news team had ever penetrated before. A barrier the Chelyabinsk lab's scientific director, a veteran of Artemis 16 as well, told us kept his pampered scientists pampered prisoners.
It was very depressing. You find yourself behind barbed wire in a very limited space. You can't even communicate with your parents. They cannot visit you. You cannot leave for a vacation.
Dr. Feoktistev, who before his Nightline interview had never spoken with journalists, says over the years the restrictions on those living in the secret cities were gradually lightened. But he notes the barbed wire is still there. Only now, he says, the people inside it have come to appreciate the razor wire barrier.
It protects them from the not-so-well-supplied population from neighboring villages.
For all its locks and limits, life inside the nuclear gulag had its advantages. 60% higher pay, and what the deputy technical director of the Chelyabinsk Holy of Holies, the Mayak nuclear complex, calls
social privileges. We have many cinemas, 2 children's theaters, 1 playhouse. We have kindergartens, schools with special curricula. In these respects, we still have advantages over other cities.
But inside those secret cities, it's no secret. Russia's nuclear aristocracy is losing its edge.
I remember when one could easily buy food, clothes, and other goods, some of which were in short supply elsewhere. But today, look inside our stores. They're identical to those of Moscow.
Those elite scientists are losing more than their privileges. They're losing their jobs. Despite official denials of any layoffs, Nightline has learned that shutting down several nuclear reactors inside the Chelyabinsk complex has already produced cutbacks of up to 15% of the workforce. And those still on the job have seen the value of their paychecks all but disappear.
You have seen a cutback of 40% in the budgets of the nuclear research institutes in the Soviet Union. This is in a situation where the average Soviet nuclear scientist makes less than a bus driver. Disgruntled Soviet nuclear scientists may well, under the proper conditions, become nuclear mercenaries.
There is such a danger, and I don't want to underestimate it. I've heard people say, and it worries me a lot, a tennis player sells his talent. A performer sells his talents. We're no worse than they. Why can't we sell our talent or knowledge?
It is the junior scientists, men and women in their 30s and 40s, who are most likely to sell out. Most of them never made the deep ideological commitment to communism that defined their elders. Crime, it is said, is the product of motive and opportunity. For many former Soviet nuclear scientists, the motivation is apparent, and there are opportunities.
We're closely watching for a brain drain from the Soviet republics.
CIA Director Gates says monitoring the movements of Soviet scientists is a major aim of American intelligence.
Based on Soviet scientific collaboration in the 1980s, Cuba, India, Syria, Egypt, and Algeria are most likely to have the contacts and resident scientists to assist immigrating Soviets.
To that list, add one more dangerous state, Libya. Although Muammar Gaddafi has loudly denied it, Soviet nuclear scientists have long been sharing knowledge with his nuclear elite, originally in building a national non-military nuclear center.
We were sending a lot of people to Libya. The people were happy to go there because they were highly paid.
Today, Western intelligence sources tell Nightline the Libya connection continues secretly, with at least 7 former Soviet scientists from the old nuclear weapons testing site at Semipalatinsk in Kazakhstan mentoring Libyan colleagues, and 7 more now working in Algeria, where radical Muslim fundamentalists are threatening the stability of the government. Even if the former Soviets try to keep research to the non-military side of the line, Roald Sagdayev says that may not quarantine their information from military development.
This is how the first nuclear bombs were built. Non-military nuclear physicists in early 40s gathered in Los Alamos here and in Arzamas in Russia, and they invented everything. This is how young, talented Arab or any third world physicist could reinvent the bomb again.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, goes the old proverb, but teach a man to fish and he can feed himself forever. The possibility that nuclear scientists from the old Soviet Union may be teaching their secrets to scientists from hostile or unstable states is one of the nightmares of the post-Cold War era. The secret deals that have brought former Soviet scientists to Libya and Algeria hint that that nightmare could soon be a waking reality, especially if those scientists can obtain a source for military-capable nuclear materials. And Ted, that's an if fast on its way to becoming a when.
Actually, there have been a number of instances where people purporting to sell precisely that kind of material have already been apprehended in Europe. And we'll have that story when we come back.
Welcome to a world of new ideas from Goodyear. Welcome to the tire that's changing all-season driving, Goodyear AquaTread. To the new Goodyear Eagle GS Ultra Performance radios. To the new leading-edge Goodyear Wrangler GSA radio for light trucks. Welcome to all of the new ideas at Goodyear. Come and discover why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
If you buy dry dog food, there's something you should know. They're pretty much the same. Right, Jake?
Most of them start with ground corn as the #1 ingredient, even a fancy brand like Science Diet.
But Purina One Dog formula is different because it starts with chicken. Chicken, corn, wheat, and other wholesome ingredients provide high-quality nutrition and a naturally good taste dogs love. To me, Purina One is the only one.
Purina One, second to none.
Okay, I know you're probably not looking for fresh, tender asparagus at just 79 cents a pound this very moment, or maybe not even fast, tasty noodle-roni entrees for just 88 cents each. But if you were to jump up from your couch and come down to Thriftway right this very moment, why, you'd find dozens of specials at great prices. Surely there's something you need.
At Thriftway, you always get our best.
Maytag presents the Savings Bond Spectacular.
Stampede's more like it.
Buy a Maytag washer and get a $50 U.S. savings bond.
All these people.
Buy a Maytag dryer and get a $50 savings bond.
Phew, I'd be safer out on the freeway.
Buy a Maytag Jet Clean dishwasher and get a $50 savings bond. Buy a Maytag stacked washer dryer and get a $50 savings bond. And get Maytag refrigerators with the best warranty in the business.
Oh, peace at last.
Hurry in and save now at Smith's Home Furnishings.
Who's making a difference in the way your tax dollars are being spent? People just like you. Hello, I'm Jeff Gianola. When Channel 2 asked you to help us get to the bottom line of government spending, thousands of you responded to our special telephone hotline. Many of your suggestions have become stories on our newscasts, and thanks to you, lawmakers are getting the message about wasteful spending. Here at KATU, we see the spirit of the Northwest in all of you, taking the initiative to make sure government keeps an eye on the bottom line.
It was her dream job, the record business, but she never dreamed she had to keep her boss's dirty secrets.
He'd hold my head right to his crotch.
Watch Primetime Thursday.
To say that the climate has changed in what was the Soviet Union is to understate the obvious. Those who were at or near the top of the pyramid in terms of prestige, living conditions, and power are displaced and disoriented. Count among their number scientists, military, and intelligence officers. Conditions are bad, options for self-improvement are few. Everything, in other words, is in place for the realization of one of our worst nightmares.
We know right now that there are people who are willing and interested in selling anything that sounds nuclear to anyone that'll buy it in the West. And the people have already been arrested.
True enough. Indeed, it was here in the lakeside resort town of Como in northern Italy that undercover operatives set up a meeting last October at this hotel with two men who claimed to have nuclear material for sale. They carried with them official-looking Soviet documents, plutonium quality control documents, describing weapons-grade plutonium. 2 days after the first set of meetings, a Swiss businessman arrived in Como carrying a small calibration device containing a tiny sample of plutonium-239, weapons-grade plutonium. The device itself was probably intended to show that the would-be seller could, indeed, deliver. Italian authorities say the device came from Texnab Export, the official Russian government agency that handles the export of nuclear materials. A senior official for that agency seemed to deny the charge, but then qualified the denial.
This is totally impossible. We do not have any confirmed information about the origin of these materials.
The Italian public prosecutor in charge of this particular investigation is Romano Dolci. He is adamant that the plutonium device and the documents came from the Soviet Union.
Technical experts were consulted who were able to trace the origin of these materials to the Soviet Union. We're talking about a culture of death, the culture of death which is expanding from the Soviet Union to other countries.
The men with the device were detained. They claimed that a group organized by ex-Soviet officials was prepared to sell 65 pounds of uranium and 20 pounds of plutonium. Theoretically, that material would have been sufficient, if it was properly enriched, to make a nuclear weapon. On November 11th, Swiss police made a seizure in Zurich. 65 pounds of uranium, which was analyzed in a Swiss lab and determined to be useless waste. No plutonium was found. This past January 8th, Italian authorities responded to a similar kind of deal in Milan. About a kilo of scandium was being offered for sale. The price, $800,000. 4 men were arrested at the hotel Capitol. The shipment, which was also supposed to have included a quantity of plutonium, had been organized by someone in Budapest, someone who claimed to be a Syrian national, calling himself Mohammed. Undercover agents tried to keep the connection and the deal alive even after the arrests in Milan. Nightline was permitted to record this conversation between one of the Italian agents and someone claiming to be Mohammed's assistant.
Mr. Mohammed is ready to make the business? Yeah, he's ready. Tell him what is his procedure, his idea. He said he has scandium. How much he needs? Plutonium. And plutonium he has? Plutonium 239. 239. Is correct?
It's difficult to escape the impression that every con man and scam artist in the world is somehow involved in trying to clean up by pretending to sell Soviet nuclear material. And yet, the Italian authorities take these incidents very seriously. Again, Romano Dolci.
Within this vast investigation, the same people, names, characters reappear. So obviously there is a link, a connection which allows us to say there is a black market of these materials and the same people are orchestrating it.
And then there was that French documentary team which secretly videotaped the material we showed you at the beginning of this broadcast. In a subsequent set of meetings, they taped a buyer of uranium arranging for delivery.
It should appear as anything, as any old non-ferrous metal, like industrial waste.
The place of delivery will be at Kaliningrad on the Baltic Sea.
If anything goes wrong during the transport, I don't want to appear as the owner of the merchandise.
If the stuff is discovered at customs, it'll be terrifying. But we can manage the problem. We can buy off the customs people. All the customs agents of the country, whatever their rank, can be bought.
The French reporter Hervé Boussini is absolutely convinced that what he and his crew taped is genuine, and that some of the people he dealt with were from Soviet military intelligence.
En revanche, en ce qui concerne 3 militaires que nous avons rencontrés,
concerning the 3 officers who tried to sell us material, we are 150% sure that these officers are from military intelligence and are right now selling military hardware and rare minerals which enter into the manufacturing of nuclear reactors. Those people are part of the military. We showed the tape to the man charged by Yeltsin with liquidating the nuclear arsenal, who did not think it was a scam. He took it very seriously.
It is something that must be taken seriously, if only because of the market forces to which we referred at the beginning of this program. There's product, there are people who want to buy, and people who want to sell. And to make matters worse, conditions in the new Commonwealth of Independent States are chaotic to begin with, so that exercising control is more difficult than it has ever been before. The bottom line is this. Among the few products available in the former Soviet Union these days that anyone with hard currency wants are weapons and nuclear material.
Now during deer season, John Deere's annual sale. You can get up to $400 off on lawn and garden tractors, or up to $150 off on one of our riding mowers, or up to $80 off on one of our mulching mowers. With 36 different mowers to choose from, there's no lawn too large or too small for a John Deere, even if some are a little hard to get to.
Dear Thompsons, I swear by Thompson's water seal. But recently, while waterproofing our deck, we ran out of Thompson's. And later, to my surprise, my son finished the job with another brand. Then it rained. You should have seen the difference. The Thompson side beat it right up. The other side, nothing.
Thompson's Water Seal has 50% more active ingredients for more waterproofing power.
Thanks for making a product you can really believe in. Sincerely, Marvin Snoddy, Locust Grove, Virginia.
Reintroducing a glorious name for a glorious new automobile. The 1992 Buick Roadmaster. With its powerful V8 performance and the security of its driver's airbag, anti-lock brakes, and full perimeter frame,